Okay. All right.
Hello. You're
Hello,
looking
dude.
snazzy in front of a snazzy
Thanks.
wall.
Thanks. Oh my God, thanks.
Wow. All
All
right,
right.
prophecy episode 5.
Episode
What did you
five.
think?
I go ahead, you start.
Okay, I quite enjoyed this episode.
Uh-huh.
Sorry if you hear a little dog in the background. Dog sitting for a friend today.
Don't
Um,
believe him. He's doing dog impressions. It's really spot
yes,
on.
yes, I've been practicing them. Um, I had fun with this episode. I had a
Yeah.
really good time. I thought we got some great answers to questions that have been asked all season long.
Oh,
Obviously, the big Desmond reveal at the end
yep.
was big.
Yeah.
Um, it was fun to see them set that up, and for that to land in a pretty significant way. Um, I thought the Abomination Lila stuff was handled really, really well. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed.
Agreed. Yeah.
Uh, I just really enjoyed how that came about. There were honestly some sort of moments of levity as well that were
Yeah.
appreciated in what is otherwise like a very tense situation.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Again, I think has this episode like changed my opinion of the show and has turned my previous
Uh-huh.
criticisms around? No, like I think I
Sure. Yeah.
still have similar issues, but they're not as apparent in this episode because I think
Uh-huh.
this is a well constructed episode
Mhm.
compared to the issues I had with 4 or the issues I had with 2. It's funny. I feel like my graph of this show is this, right?
Yeah.
Like I like an
You like the
episode, I
odd
don't like it.
the odd numbers.
Uh,
Yeah.
exactly, and maybe I just have a preference for odd numbered episodes.
Uh-oh. Episode six
But
is the last one, buddy.
this one, the chart went back up for me. I had a good
Yeah.
time. I was, locked in and hooked start to finish. I thought we um,
Mm.
set up some really smart moments. For example, I liked that Harrow seemingly, you're like, oh my gosh, he's betraying Valia, and
Yeah.
only to learn later in the episode that he's, nope, Valia is still pulling the strings. That to
Yeah.
me is fun, uh, sophisticated sisterhood manipulation stuff that I felt was a little missing from the previous episode.
Dude,
Um,
did you at
Good.
all? I wrote down, I said, calling it now, this is Theodosia as Harold Harkonnen, like shapeshifted into Harold
Uh,
Harkonnen. And then it fully
yeah,
was not.
it fully was
And
not. That's the
yeah,
thing. It's like, is that going to come back in some way? Maybe. If like it
it
has to come
has
back in
to.
episode
It has
6 if
to.
it's ever
Yeah.
going to come back.
Chekhov's space
I
dancer, it's
don't
got
think you
to.
set up such a huge like bombshell reveal and not
Yeah.
utilize it
Yeah.
in your
Yeah. Yeah.
story.
It's going to happen
Yeah,
next
interesting
episode
that
for
it didn't
sure.
come up in this episode. Um, I thought it was interesting to reveal a totally new sister coming in. We have
Yeah. Well,
Francesca.
yeah, new-ish, right? Because she's the other friend that Valia had when she was a kid. Because
Oh,
as a
I didn't make that
child,
connection.
yeah, because as a child, that's why Kasha's death hit her so hard because her two BFFs were Kasha and this girl,
Oh,
Francesca.
I didn't make that connection at all. Nice, good catch. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool. Um, but I thought she did really well,
She was
kind
great.
of bringing that crackling sexual energy that,
Oh,
frankly, I think we've been
oh,
missing from the sisters a little bit. Like
yeah,
sexual energy is a core part of the sisterhood,
yeah,
and we've been missing that. So I'm glad Francesca came in and gave us some of that. That was juicy.
yeah.
Uh, I want to compliment Travis Fimmel for just chewing up
Oh,
the scenery at this point. He's like doing
he's
bits
so good.
within every scene.
He's so
Um,
good.
the faces that he's making, he's fully leaning into the like, I'm kind of an evil, crazy guy, aren't I? Like, woo!
Yeah.
Let me be a little kooky. Let me be a little weird.
I
Uh,
laughed
so,
out loud a
so that was
few
fun.
times at his performances. So good. Hit the line where Hara Harkonnen's like, "You won't guess what this is," and he's like, "It's your fucking story, man. I'm not gonna guess. Just tell me." It's so
Yeah,
funny to me.
it was
Oh
so
God.
that was such it was perfectly delivered, and I think really well written.
Yeah.
That little bit of comedy there was really funny because Harrow
Yeah.
is just going on and on and on and on.
Also, the way
Um,
that Travis Fimmel like deflated a little bit when Hara was like, "Have I told you about whale fur?" And he's like, "Fucking
ah,
guy."
God damn it,
It's
the
so
Harkonnens on their goddamn whale for her. Yeah. Um, but I will say one of my critiques that is consistent and
Uh-huh.
continues in this episode is Kieran stuff continues to
Yeah,
be a weak point for me. We got some more action packed uh, moments in this
yeah,
episode,
yeah.
um, but it still all feels very weak. I couldn't help but kind of laugh at the fact that Sister Michaela, a trained spy and sister, hides her spice and her robes in the same spot right above the bar
Yeah.
where all the illegal activities happening.
Also,
Oh my
Kieran,
god.
Kieran with his like, well, I guess I'll keep the scanner forever, right next to the weapons, the weapons
And I
drawer.
guess I'll leave my locker open where my illegal scanner is. Yeah,
These
it
fucking
is just the
idiots.
most amateur rebellion, it's like dumb Watergate is happening. You're like, oh my god, I
Oh,
can't believe this. Um, so that continues to be a weak point of the show.
sure,
I've
yeah.
harped on that in previous conversations, but I'm really enjoying the Lila sisterhood. Again, every time we come back to Wallach Nine, I'm like locked in, and I'm like, yes, let's go.
Yeah,
I'm loving
yeah,
this
yeah.
mystery as it's playing out, and I thought even the palace intrigue stuff took a step up this episode compared to last
Oh,
episode.
great to hear. Yeah,
What about you?
I'm I mean, dude, I'm having fun. It's the same time every time. I'm like, oh yeah, well, this is fun. What a fun show.
Yeah, yeah.
I completely agree. I think the abomination thing is like weirdly in line with Frank Herbert's stuff, like that idea of individual personas kind of taking over and having their agency sort of blending. Like that was interesting. I thought actually, you know what, masterclass. If anybody asks what the voice is, it is 1,000% Francesca uh, convincing Havoko Carino to give Constantine a chance. It's her being the seductress, hand on the like
Mm-hmm.
there
Mm-hmm.
close to him, and then the line, "I'm not here to drive a wedge between you and your wife," like, and then she fully drives a wedge between him and his wife. But still, God, and she's so beautiful. She's such a gorgeous person. Um, yeah, I was like, that is the voice. She understands Havoko. He thinks his son's a fucking good for nothing. And she
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
convinces him in one conversation to make Havoko the commander of his entire fleet. And it's like, that's the voice. That is the voice. It's not like a
Yeah,
whatever. It's like, no,
yeah,
it's that. It's persuasion. It's understanding what someone wants. And it's, oh, that was so good. Yeah, Desmond continues to be so funny to me. He had a few really great lines. I like
he
the
did.
uh, we caught a rebel, and most of what he said was screams, but otherwise he said he named this place. Great,
Yeah.
love it, so much fun. His kind of incredulity for surviving that explosion. He's like, "You am I the main fucking character? What is this plot armor? Oh my God,
Yeah,
I'm invincible."
yeah,
Um, yeah, and I was really, I was kind of hoping for more information about Theodosia. I was hoping for more. There's a couple of like plot lines that I was hoping for more movement on, but I'm really glad to know what's going on with Lila. We learned that fucking Tula's son is Desmond Hart. Woo!
yeah. That's
Crazy.
big,
Oh, what a
right?
great 1-2 punch of he is Ori Atreides and Tula Harkonnen's son.
Yeah, which I think all
Now,
but confirms for me the proto Kwisatz Haderach theory,
yes, a
considering it is a
thousand
future
percent
Atreides and Harkonnen
Harkonnen mix.
bloodline that
Yeah,
creates the Kwisatz. So he is a proto
absolutely. Proto
early,
Paul.
like alpha stage, very rough with the powers Kwisatz Haderach.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, so that's very satisfying. That's very cool.
Yeah,
Um, it also really gave meaning to a lot of her lines in that episode, very intentionally, right? Her line to Jen's very validly being like, "What the fuck have you sacrificed?" And she's like, "More than you could ever know." And then we
yes.
learned that
Oh,
she gave a child. I also will correct the record a little bit. I'm reading Navigators of Dune now, which is the third fucking prequel book that continues the plot of the first two. And
yep.
there are some throwaway lines about Tula Harkonnen having maybe developed feelings for Ori. So I said
Ah,
that was a
okay.
change in the show, and I still think it is a change in the show, but I will give a little bit of credit where credit is due. It seems like in the book Brian 2 books later was like, wait a second, maybe I should
Right.
make that character rounded and well developed a book
Yeah.
too late. But
Yeah.
whatever. Anyway, no, I had a blast. I laughed a few times. I like that Tula set Jen up for a jump scare. Come over to this door. Come over to this door here, and then she just
Uh-huh.
opens it,
Peer in
and
the
she's
window.
like,
Peer in the window.
Look, look close, and then it's like,
"God, Tula's such an asshole sometimes. This is great."
I
So I know
know. Oh my God.
I was having a great time. I enjoyed it. I do feel like there's going to be some unanswered questions at the end of the next episode, but I also feel like now it's really come down to like the brass tacks. Valia is going to have to fall back on her final contingency plan for Desmond. I feel like she's going to get herself involved in the fight based on the preview trailers with her like slitting throats and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but maybe she's got some new things. And we know it's a virus now. It's like a fear pathogen, a la
Yeah.
Scarecrow from Batman. We've got
Yeah.
we've got
Oh, that's
a
a good analogy. Yes.
We've got the fear virus. And if it's like an RNA thing, does that mean that anyone's been infected? I don't know how viruses work. Does that mean that you're like everyone's going to have this forever? And this is why the litany against fear is so powerful or so important? Like I think for sure
Right.
we are getting the inception of the litany, guaranteed. I loved
I agreed.
Francesca's line, Haviko is a man ruled by fear, was
Yeah.
like,
Which was exactly your takeaway from last episode. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
spot on.
I was patting myself on the back. Believe me. Uh, but so the litany against fear for sure. But then I'm really curious, like, is this whole virus thing, airborne pathogen thing? He was blowing out. You know what? That's funny because in the last episode he kind of goes, "Shh," and that's what makes the
Yeah.
people burn. Uh, So interesting. That maybe that whole little monologue, the wandering spiders, that
Yeah.
whole thing, maybe that was just to make the people who ought be afraid, so that it would trigger the.
burnout.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there's some like sci-fi questions of like, how do you activate that only in specific people if it's just airborne and everyone's breathing it in?
Yeah, just one dude in the
Um,
back is really afraid of spiders, and he's like wandering spider, he bursts into flames. What did
gets
that
out of
fucking
there.
guy do? It's like nothing.
Oh,
It's
whoops.
just kind of he's anxious.
Yeah.
He's a really anxious guy.
Yeah. I do think then this makes you might know more about this more than me because I'm not familiar with the Brian Herbert like SciMech
Yeah.
androids concept, but this to me then makes me wonder if Desmond is some sort of like cause isn't the virus? Didn't Tula say? I have to rewatch the episode, but I feel like Raquella slash Lila said, "I saw this virus in the war. It was used by
Yes.
the machines against us, or something."
Or she's seen this thing before. It was in during the war. So
Yeah, yeah, kind of vague.
yeah, so I am thinking, oh, and she also mentioned it's the omnious plague is the phrase she said
Okay.
beforehand.
Yes.
So omnius is one of the like generals of the Cymek warriors or I don't know, but I barely know that stuff. Oh my God. Children. Uh, yeah, so I believe we are getting I don't know if it's going to be he's an agent of the thinking machines or he was fucked with by someone who has thinking machine like sympathies or
Yeah.
I don't know. It definitely seems like I'm not sure what he. Yeah, there's still a lot of questions. I will say in well, Sisterhood and Mentats, we get a character named Ptolemy who is like anti. No, that's a bad example. I don't know. I was also thinking Tleilax because again, we have the maybe face dancer, and I guess people were saying in some sort of clip they might have said like a proto face dancer. So maybe she
Yeah.
just escaped from Tleilax, and that's all it is, or
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah. I mean, we don't know anything about Desmond's childhood, so that there there's an infinite different ways that could have gone. How
Scavengers.
he ended up as a soldier, how he ended up on Arrakis, what actually happened on Arrakis.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
How he keeps fucking
and
surviving.
I think you're correct. We're still going to be left with some lingering questions. I don't think one more episode is enough to fill all of that in and wrap up Palace Intrigue stuff and wrap
Right,
up
right, right.
Lila Abomination stuff. I think we're going to be left with quite a few lingering questions. But hopefully we'll wrap up at least Valia. I feel like we got to get to some sort of closing the loop on Valia, whatever that may be, and that's really what I hope the mission statement of Episode 6 is.
Or maybe
But
it'll
I
be.
enjoyed this one.
Here's another possibility. So Valia has said a couple of times now, if Tula were here, right? Like if Tula were involved directly, maybe Tula goes to Seleucus Secundus, or maybe everyone converges on Arrakis, and Tula is the one that then either like takes Desmond's life or something like that. Like maybe she
Mm,
gets involved, and then Valia is like, "Yo, we got to do that again," but in like 10,000 years.
yeah, yeah, it'll
Or
be interesting. I mean,
something.
how Tula will react to learning that she has a child with the man she both loved, and
Well,
well,
she
I
knew
guess she would
she
have
had the
birthed the
child.
child. That's
Yeah,
true.
she's like, I didn't notice.
I see, but she just knows
But
that
she
he's alive
sent it,
now.
yeah, and she sent him away. So
Yeah,
that also
I think.
might
I mean,
not be
Tula's
something
definitely
Valia
harboring some
knows.
secrets too. Does
Yeah,
Valia know
exactly.
exactly that Tula ever
Right.
had this child?
Right.
And
A
like, did
child
Tula
via
just
Ori
abandon it,
Atreides.
or did Tula have plans for it? Like, sent Desmond off somewhere on purpose?
I mean, it
Um,
sounds like because I honestly, she just had poisoned and killed everyone. I get the impression her intention was for him to survive and just be okay somewhere, not knowing that he would, become the man he is
yeah,
today.
yeah,
Sort of
yeah.
like,
Some interesting questions for sure.
well, all right, dude. A lot. We have to get to scripting the episode now, so I'll
Yes,
I'll
yeah.
leave you to that, and I'll continue enjoying the literally the like
Very foggy,
grayest,
cold, rainy New York
foggiest. Yeah,
day.
but we'll. Oh, it's
Okay,
going to be
cool.
exciting to dig into this one.
Yes, yeah. Lots to talk about with this one. All right, man. I'll let you
All right,
go,
dude.
and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Bye.